My name is Deepika Ramesh. It is April 18th, 2021. I am interviewing Jeff Rosenfeld. Can you tell us a little bit about where you're from?
I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. Grew up there. My parents still live there, and then went to college outside and of there, and lived outside for a bit, and then eventually moved over to Irving, and then here in Dallas, where we've lived for I don't know, maybe about 19 years or something like that.
Okay. And how did you become an artist, and what does art mean to you?
So, growing up in Colorado, my dad in the basement had a little wood shop, and he taught me, just making various things out of wood. He had a lathe, and so I did a number of things on the lathe. Actually, my first sale was to my aunt who bought a bowl that I'd made on the lathe. I think she bought it for $50 and said it'd be worth something someday. I'm not sure it is yet, but sort of started there, and I actually used that lathe to make some mezuzot that I sold out in college at Brandeis in Massachusetts, and then studied abroad in Israel and sold a couple in Israel, and then really just sort of stopped for a bit. And my dad then many years later, actually in 2009, invited me to go to a marble carving course in Colorado, and actually in Marble, Colorado, where the marble quarry is for the Lincoln Monument and Washington Monument, I believe. And so he had gone before, and I decided to join him, just a fun father-son activity, and learned how to carve marble there for a week, and this gorgeous scenery. And so, that's a little bit of where I got started, and just enjoyed it, and got some stone and started messing around in the backyard. And so continued to do that to this day. Actually, literally today, I was out in the backyard carving again. And it's just fun way to take my mind off the day to day, and see what I can create and come up with.
Okay. And how would you describe your artistic style?
Um, I think from a stone perspective, uh, it's really very much abstract. I don't have the patience nor the talent for a lot of the detail work. I've got I've seen other artists and have tremendous respect for what they do. For me, I like sort of the simpler shapes and curves, but try to push myself to some more complex designs as well. Usually tend to be, some would say architectural or mathematical, which is sort of my professional background, and really try to blend those two, but just try to have something that, is this aesthetically pleasing and interesting, but sort of generally, contemporary abstract.
What is, so you mentioned stone. Is that your primary medium, and do you work with anything else?
So lately, it's pretty much just been stone, marble, alabaster, onyx. Um, I have done some work in metal in the past, and then I've done a little bit in painting, although not much. And then, as I mentioned, growing up in wood, but for probably the last, oh, 10, 10 years or so, pretty much just stone.
What themes or ideas do you explore through your art, and how do you think Judaism influences your work?
Yeah, I did a menorah out of stone. I did a piece somewhat recently that was sort of an abstract version of a Star of David. But other than that, it's really just abstract. I'd say the inspiration is probably more primarily just curves and ribbon and uh, balance. Working on some stuff now, just trying to figure out not just an aesthetic balance, but actually the physical balance of the piece, and various mathematical complexity of repeating patterns and things like that. So Judaism is an important part of my life as far as my artwork. It comes in places, but probably isn't the primary focus.
Since the theme of the exhibit is color, how would you describe the way you use color in your work?
It's really just whatever's in the stone naturally. There are a number of stone sculptors that stick pretty much just to white. It's one of the more common marbles. I actually love exploring different colors, and so have seeked out stones in a wide range of colors, and uh, just try to come up with designs that really highlight the color and beauty of the natural stone.
What can you tell us about the work you are going to be sharing at Tzva'im?
I haven't 100% decided which two pieces, but the ones that I'm leaning on, when you actually speak to color, one of my very favorite stones, which is pretty hard to come by, called Brazilian sodalite, has a beautiful range of very dark blues, royal blues, white, and a little bit of black in it. It's a very hard stone, both physically hard and sort of a pain to carve because it chips, but creates a real beautiful finished product. So I think that's one that I'd be looking at, bringing just sort of a teardrop shape, but a little bit of a Mobius to that, which is basically where one side blends into the other. And then another is a piece that is sort of just a simple ribbon or curve twisting on itself, on a granite base. It is from Turkish lilac marble that is a beautiful white marble with heavy veining in purple, which is just a real pretty stone. So I think both of those are probably what I'd put in the show.
And one last question. What is something you want viewers to know or take away from your artwork?
I think more than anything, it's about personal taste, and if somebody should get it if they enjoy looking at it. And I really try and whatever I make to have it be something that's generates interest by, when you look at it, you can't quite figure it out from one angle. I mean, sculpture is a three-dimensional art form. It needs to be looked at from multiple sides and angles. And I think a good sculpture is one that sort of requires the viewer to look at it from different angles to really start to understand it or appreciate it, as opposed to just one viewpoint. So would encourage anybody looking at my art or anybody's 3D sculpture to sort of take it in that way. And, some, it might appeal to some and not others. Honestly, even some of my pieces I like more than others. So I think that's just the nature of art.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Jeff.